So we're going to start in hero's pose this evening. So we've got our block portrait, sort of middle of the mat. Knees come together, feet go wide, and then you sit gently back, taking it easy with the knees to make sure that the sitting bones are on the floor. And if there's any issues, you can always put more blocks underneath, or indeed you can have less blocks. And we're just going to sit here for a moment, take a few breaths, and let ourselves relax. So just roll those shoulders back, especially if you've spent the day stuck on a workbench or at a table, looking down all day, reading, something like that. And we'll slowly just interlace the hands, bring the forearms together to roll the wrists around gently. And just taking it easy, nice sort of simple rolls, just warming up the wrists. We're going to be doing quite a lot of variations on plank and other things which require us to put quite a lot of weight down through the wrists. So let me give them a nice loosen up. And then we're going to continue that as we release. We'll just take the hands to the floor to lift up. We'll move off of the block, just take it out to the side and to the front. And we'll take the knees wide, feet together, sit down onto the bottom so the bootlaces are still down, and we're going to allow some body weight to come down through the shoulders, elbows, and into the wrists. So you get a chance to spread the fingers, just open up the tendons a little bit and ligaments, those tight muscles in the palm. And then we'll stretch out the wrists a little bit more and the muscles underneath the palm of the hand just by turning the fingers out sideways. And then we'll be adventurous and take the fingers in towards us, thumbs out, and taking the hands as far forwards as you feel you can, while still keeping the heel of the hand out. So we're just increasing the angle a little bit. Cat's paws is the name for this particular sequence of moves through the wrists. Let's draw the belly in and let ourselves lift up a little bit, just lifting the body so we take the hands or the weight out of the wrists, give them a little shake out, and then we'll come into a plank. So hands going to be shoulder distance apart towards the front of the mat, and we'll just press out through the heels to open out the backs of the legs a little bit. So it's only a pretend plank, so we won't hold it too long. We want to make sure we press away from the floor, get the shoulders to lift a little bit and spread, belly drawn in. And then we're going to slowly walk the toes in towards the front of the mat. So just sliding the feet in, little steps at a time. So we get to the point where you can't move any further, and you have to bring the fingers and toes in line at the front of the mat by lifting away from the floor a little bit. Then we'll bring the hands onto the hips and lift up. Inhale high, so just bring the hands above, palms together, so we're working into the shoulders a little bit more, exhaling through the hands. Inhaling up, hands into the heart. And we'll bring the hands in towards the heart. This time we're going to hinge at the hips, draw the belly in, let the thighs lift, weight into the toes. Bring the hands down to the floor. Bring the hands back onto the hips. Lengthen gently. Let ourselves lift up. Inhale high. Hands into the heart. We're going to do this 3 times all together. It's called a half vinyasa. We'll bring the hands onto the hips and then sink the bottom down so we come into chair pose. Draw the hands forwards, drive through the thighs to lift up. Bring the hands into the heart. Exhale down. Hands to the floor. Sit back deep. Take the hands forwards. When the arms and the body will line up, drive through the legs on an exhale. Final time, hands coming into the heart, down to the floor into chair. Bring the hands in towards the heart. Coming down to the floor this time. We'll let ourselves come into a lunge on the right leg. So going towards the back of the mat. I'm going to keep the front knee over the ankle, be on the fingertips. The hips sink a little bit, chest lifts, shoulders roll away from the ears. And then we'll drop the back heel down onto the floor, ready for warrior 2. We'll bring the hands alongside the hips, lift a little, open up slowly. Bring the hands high, rotate, lengthen out, keep the front knee position over the ankle, spin the heel on the back foot, step it into the forward fold, drop it down a little deeper, bring the hands onto the hips, lengthen and lift up. Inhale high, hands into the heart, exhale down. Left foot back, long lunge. And drop the heel in again for warrior 2. Turn the palms to the sky as you inhale high, extend out and over. Take a little breath, step it into the forward fold. Hands onto the hips, lengthen to lift up. Inhale high, hands into the heart. Lunge with the right foot to the back of the mat. Drop the heel in. Hands alongside, we lift up. Take the hands high. Lengthen back out over that front leg. This time we'll step back into down dog. Draw the right knee in. Lunge. Step it forwards. And drop it in deep. Hands onto the hips to lift. We'll take that to the second side. Inhale high. Hands through the heart. Exhale down. Left foot back into lunge. Drop the heel. Inhale up, warrior two. Inhale, hands high. Rotate, exhale long. Step back into down dog. And left knee in. Lunge. Exhale, forward fold. Hands onto the hips. Lift up. Inhale high. Hands into the heart. Draw the belly in as you fold down. Right foot back into the deep lunge. Take a little breath. We'll drop the back knee down to the floor and tuck the toes. Lift the hands forwards. When they line up with the body, draw the belly in and lift everything up on the exhale. It's a low crescent. Press into the back shin a little bit. And try and draw the shoulders back towards the back of the mat. And ease the hands down to the floor. We'll step it back into down dog. Come forwards into plank. Exhale back into down dog. Forwards into plank. Back into down dog. Into plank. Back into down dog. Right knee to the chest, breathe in. Exhale through on the lunge. On the exhale, step into the forward fold. Hands onto the hips to lift up. Second side. Left foot back. Drop the knee down gently, untuck the toes. Inhale the hands high. Exhale the body upright. Press into that back shin again. Square the hips a little bit. Roll the shoulders back. Try and keep the spine long rather than arching. One more breath. Hands to the floor. Step it back into the down dog. Inhale forwards into plank. Exhale into down dog. Take it forwards. Back into DD. Into plank. And back again, so using the hips to lift up. Left knee into the chest, breath in. Exhale through for the lunge. Breath. Step it forwards. Hands onto the hips, chest forwards, lift up. Inhale high. Hands through the heart. Exhale down to the floor. Right foot back. Knee stays lifted this time. Take a little breath. Bring the hands forwards. Exhale it up. Remember to try and draw the shoulders back. Bring the hands to the floor. Step it back into your down dog. Forwards into plank. Exhale it back. Seems familiar. It's 3 times. Come forwards on the breath. Keep the belly drawn in. Exhale, hips high. Roll it back. One more time. Rolling it back again. Right knee to the chest. Foot through for the lunge. Breath. Press it forwards. Hands onto the hips. Inhale high. Second side. Exhale down. Left foot back. Hands come forwards. Exhale to lift. Press out through the back heel. Shoulders roll back a little bit. Bring the hands to the floor. Step it back into down dog. Forwards on the breath. Slowly back. So trying to keep the shoulders pressing away from the floor and the hips the same height, and pressing out the heel into these planks. Sometimes referred to as a high plank, possibly by me. Drawing the breath in and exhaling it back out. We'll draw that left knee in and through. Take a little breath. Press off the toes. Hands onto the hips. And we'll lift up. Inhale high. Bring the hands in towards your heart. Exhale the hands out in front, palms face down. Come up onto the tiptoes. And try and keep the spine long and upright as we start to slowly bend the knees. We're going to come all the way down to the point where we think the thighs are parallel to the floor. And then we're going to lift back up slowly. Take the hands towards the sky, hands into the heart. Exhale down to the floor. Right foot back, drop heel in. Warrior 2 again, bring the hands alongside. Lift up. Turn the palm on front hand for reverse warrior. Wrap the back hand around. Look towards the back foot. And stretch the top arm up and over. And come back in, warrior 2, float the arms up high, rotate, extend out slowly, step it back into the front of the mat. Hands onto the hips, we lift up. Hands come high, into the heart. Hands come out in front, onto the tiptoes, soften the knees. Take as many breaths as you need. Come down as slow as you can. Going to lift, slow again. Let the heels come down, hands high. Back into the heart. Exhale down to the floor. Left foot back. Drop the heel in for warrior two. Hands alongside. Open it up. Turn the palm front hand, reverse warrior, second side. Come back into your warrior two. Float the arms high. Extend out to the front of the mat. Down to the floor. Spin it into the front of the mat. Drop it in deep. Hands under the hips. Let ourselves lift up. Inhale high. Hands into the heart. Shake it all out. So that's the warm-up done. A couple of deep breaths. Hands into the heart. Take a little breath. I'm going to soften the knees. Sit down into that chair. Extend the hands out in front. Extend forwards and down into the forward fold. Take the right foot back. Into lunge. Drop the heel in. Open up into warrior two. Turn the palm and front hand, reverse warrior. Come back into warrior two. Extended side angles. We lengthen out. Top arm towards the sky. Inhale high. Just working on your obliques to lift ourselves up. So very little weight on this hand. Now we'll come back into warrior two. Float the arms high. Extend out. And down into our down dog. Now this time you want to make sure your feet are, I would say hip distance apart, but if you've got big feet, you want to make sure at least your foot distance apart, which will become obvious why we need to do that in a moment. You're going to take the heels gently over towards the left, so spin on the ball of the feet. And then as you exhale, you bend your knees, squat to the side. Inhale, lift back up. Spin on the ball of the foot and squat down dog to the opposite side. And come back up to the first side, to the second side, last time over to the right, to me, and over to the second side again on that pair. Take a little breath in down dog, draw the right knee in, foot comes through, take a little breath, press into the forward fold, sit your bottom down deep, allow yourself to take the hands out into that chair pose. Drive through legs to lift up. Bring the hands in towards the heart. Take a little breath. Allow yourself to soften the knees. Sit down deep. Inhale the hands into the chair position. Extend forwards, forward fold. Left foot back, drop the heel in, warrior two. Open up. Turn the palm. Inhale to reverse warrior. Exhale back into warrior two. Extend over that front thigh. Inhale high, turn the chest round. Connect the back foot. That left or wrist, hip and buttock should feel like it's doing some work. And come back into warrior two. Float the hands high. Down to the floor. Down dog. Remember how far apart the feet need to be. We take them to the left. And bend the knees. Exhale to lift up. Switch over to the other side. Exhale on the way down. Inhale on the way up. First side again. Second side. First side again. And second side. Left knee into the chest and foot through. Into the lunge, take a breath. Step through into that forward fold. Sit down deep. Chair pose. Drive the legs to lift up. Put hands out wide. Shake it off. Swoop up towards the sky on the breath in. Hands into the heart. Exhale down to the floor. Taking the right foot to the back of the mat into the lunge. We'll take a twist to the left. So turn the body in towards the front thigh. We'll lift the top arm up. Rest the hands away from the floor. Stretch the fingertips high. Strong back leg. Belly drawn in a little bit. Bring the hands back down. Push off the back toes. Forward fold. Big exhale. Hands under the hips. Lift up. Hands into the heart. We exhale down to the floor again. Left foot back. Right hand towards the hip and lift up into the twist to the second side. Keep stretching, keep lifting. This is not a sagging pose. This is a uplifting, strong, energizing kind of thing. Bring the hands back down to the floor. Take a little breath and we'll step it in. Bring the hands onto the hips and we'll lift up. Inhale high, hands into the heart. We'll soften those knees again into chair. Swoop the arms up towards the sky on the breath in. Extend forwards and let ourselves drop into the forward fold. We'll take the right foot back and the left foot back into down dog. Now we're going to take our first serious side plank. We're dropping the feet over towards the left side, and then the right foot is going to come forwards about halfway down the mat. So we'll take a little breath. Roll the feet over towards the left as we come into the plank. And draw the top forwards about halfway forwards. So the shin is pretty vertical and the foot is on the floor. We'll take the hand and the right up towards the sky. Now you're going to lift the hips, press down through both feet. One is flat to the floor, the back one is on the side, the foot is flexed a little bit. And just as we did on that twist, we're going to try and push away from the ground and lift the arms up. So everything is trying to move away from the floor. We'll bring it back down. Take a little breath. Step it back into plank, into down dog. Draw the right knee in. Bring the foot through into the lunge. Step it into the front of the mat. Hands onto the hips to lift. Inhale high. Hands into the heart. We're sinking into chair pose again. Inhale the hands up. Extend forwards and down into that forward fold. Step both feet back into a plank. Going to take it to the right this time with the feet. Draw the left foot forwards halfway. Open up. Lift, press, breathe. Always the breathe. So you should be starting to feel those obliques starting to work underneath the body with all the lifting. Take one more breath in, hands to the floor. Step it back into down dog. Draw the left knee in towards the body and through into the lunge. Breath. Step it into the forward fold. Take a little breath. Hands onto the hips. Lift up. Shake it all out. Whew. So it's starting to get a little bit warm now. So these pauses are quite important. Not only do they give us an opportunity to bring the heart and the breath back under control, but they allow us to bring our focus back into balance as well. So we start to feel connected with the ground, more sure-footed. We'll take the breath high, in towards the heart. Exhale down. Step it back into plank. Now we're going to take it over to the left again. So one foot on the side, one foot flat. Going to take that right hand up towards the sky, and we're just going to have some fun with some twists. So you want to make sure that your hand is underneath your shoulder. If it's forwards or backwards, it's going to put a lot more strain on the shoulder. I want to be lifting up straight from the floor. So we're still working through these obliques to lift up, and we take a breath in, and then we drop the hand down and thread it underneath, touch the floor on the opposite side, and then lift up. The feet do rock around a little bit. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. And up. 3, 2. That would be number 1. Now feels the lift. Take the hands back down to the floor. Into down dog. We'll draw the right knee in, step into lunge. Into the forward fold. Hands onto the hips as we soften the knees to lift up. And we do it all over again. Exhale down. Allow ourselves to step back into our plank. This time I'm going to take the feet to the right. Left hand lifts. Little adjustments. You can use your feet to wiggle forwards and backwards if you need to. Take a breath in. On the exhale, underneath, tap, and bring it back up. Inhale on the way up. Exhale on the way down. And 3, 2, and 1. Bring it back in to plank, to down dog. Left knee through. Lunge to the front of the mat, forward fold. Hands to the hips to lift up. And inhale high. Time for a little demonstration. So there's a pose called fallen triangle. And it comes from down dog, strangely enough. So just to demonstrate, down dog as you understand it, I'm going to draw my left knee in so you can see what's happening. Now I'm going to start to move forwards into plank, keeping the knee in, drawing the shoulders over the wrists. Once I arrive, I slowly take my left foot to the outside of the right side, as far forward as I can. The foot is flexed and I'm on the side of the foot. I'm going to drop the back heel down onto the floor and open up as deeply as I can. Bring myself back, square the hips, draw the knee in and back in to down dog. How's that for a little demo? Right. Back to the front of the mat. The sharp end of business. Make sure the feet are hip distance apart. Take a little breath, sweep the arms high. Hands into the heart. Exhale down to the floor. Step it back into our down dog. Make sure the feet are hip distance apart. Draw the right knee into the chest. Float forwards. As you exhale, take the foot out and slide it as far forward as you can. Drop the back heel. You pivot on that back foot. You open the chest up. Now you can just take the hand stroke to 12 o'clock. If you've got a little bit more open in the chest, great. Just be careful of the bottom shoulder. Bring the hand back down to the floor and then move the foot back gently. Draw the left knee in. Come forwards. Foot extends out to the side. Plant. Back heel drops down. We open up. Keep the hips lifted. Roll it back down. Into your down dog. Right knee comes in to lunge. Take a little breath. Press off the toes. Drop into that forward fold. Hands come onto the hips and we lift up. One more round. Inhale high. Hands into the heart. Exhale down. Step it back into your down dog. Right knee in. Come forwards. Float through. Drop the back heel. Keep the hips high. Straight legs. Open it up. Fold it back in. Plant the hands. Square the hips. Step it back into down dog. Left leg comes in. We float forwards. Extend the foot out to the side. Drop the back heel. Keep those hips lifted. Sulky bottoms not allowed. Hands down to the floor. Square hips into down dog. Draw the left knee in. Foot through. Final lunge. Press off the toes. Drop it in. And bring the hands onto the hips to lift up. Inhale high. Hands into the heart. Exhale down to the floor. And take the right foot deep to the back of the mat. Drop the heel in for warrior two. Float ourselves up. Turn the palm, reverse warrior. Come back, warrior two. Extended side angle, we lengthen out. Take the top arm towards the sky, breath in. Exhale, bring the hands down to the floor on the inside of that front foot. Take a little breath and walk the fingers round gently to the long side of the mat. Allow yourself to take a little time to turn the toes in. Get yourself comfortable through the hips. Nice straight legs, fingertips out in front. And we lift and we just draw the body forwards a little bit. Now we're going to take an option here. If you know that you have problems with your SI joint or your sciatic nerve, stay here. Just work on keeping the feet connected to the ground, lifting the hips up, squeezing the thighs in. If you are okay in those areas, we'll walk the fingers around towards the back foot. Now, you're going to get as close to the foot as you can. If you're able to take your hands away from the floor and hold on to the ankle, you draw your body in towards that thigh. So keep the spine nice and long. So you're actually trying to bring the ribs onto the thigh and letting the head follow. It gets easy to get competitive and try and headbutt your knee, which just rounds your spine really. It doesn't give you the length that we're looking for. Keep the belly drawn in, legs working down. Test balance and strength. And then we bring the hands to the floor. And we'll walk it around slowly to the middle. Take a breath here. And walk it around to the front end of the mat. And again, if you're able to, fold yourself into the thigh. So although the hands are connected to the ankle, if they are, you're not really pulling on the arms, just letting the elbows hang out to the side to keep the shoulders broad, make it easier to breathe. Trying to line the heart and the knees on that line. One more breath here. Hands come back to the floor, to the center again. Now we're going to take a little breath here and walk the hands around to the front of the mat and step it gently back into down dog. Now we'll take the right leg to the sky to scissor. Come into a plank, so it's a three-legged plank. Bend the knee of the lifted leg, so the foot goes towards the sky. We're going to roll into side plank onto the left and drop that foot behind on the floor and lift the hips up and open up, flip dog. We'll come back the same way, just dropping the arm down, lift the hips high, take the leg up, and then back down. We'll take a little breath. We'll take the left leg to the sky. Come into a three-legged plank, shoulders over the wrists. Bend the knee. Take it over to the right side. Open up. Float the hand back. Leg lifts high. Down dog. Right knee comes to the chest. Foot through to the front of the mat. Take a breath. Press off the toes, forward fold, hands under the hips to lift up. Inhale high, second side. Hands through the heart and exhale down to the floor. Left foot back. Drop the heel in, warrior two. Reverse warrior. Back into warrior two. Extended side angle. Top arm up. Breath in. Bring it down to the floor. Walk the fingers round to the long side, turn the toes in. Lengthen the spine forwards. Balance through the feet. So if you're all in the toes, when you come around and try and take hold of your foot, you kind of fall forward. So you want to get the balance sorted out first. Hence a couple of little breaths. When we're ready, if you're feeling good, we're taking the hands around towards the back leg. Fold it in. Remember, it's ribs to thighs. Head follows the line of the spine. And come back. Lengthen the spine out again. Reset the feet if they've traveled around. Come into the front of the mat. Find an ankle or hold onto the floor. Fold it in. Last breath. Hands to the floor, walk it into the center again. Get that length in the body. Walk the fingers around to the front. Stepping it back into down dog. Taking the left leg into the scissor. Come into the three-legged plank. Bend the knee. Roll it over to that right side to lift up. To flip your dog open. Bring yourself back into that three-legged scissor, foot to the floor. Take the right leg high. Come into the three-legged plank, straight leg, bend the knee, flip it over. And back. Leg lifts high as we do so. Arrive, right knee to the chest, lunge, take a breath. Step it forwards, hands onto the hips, we lift up. Inhale high, hands into heart. Exhale down to the floor. And step it back, feet to about halfway down the mat. Let the knees come down, bring the knees together, take the feet wide, take your block. Place it underneath your bottom. The hero's pose again. And a breath. I'll let the hands come to the floor to lift up. Just move the block out the way. And we're going to take the knees wide and toes together. So we come into a child's pose, wide knee version. Walk the hands forwards and out. Get a nice long spine. Try and keep the hands pressing down into the floor. The elbows are lifted just a little bit. Try and broaden out through the shoulder blades, but you can expand sideways through your body. We'll take it into a side bend again, just a little bit easier than some of the ones we've done this evening. So going to the right. And lifting, coming up, go over to the opposite side. One last breath. And we'll come back into the center. We'll lift ourselves up and just let the feet come out to whichever side is more natural for them to travel to. We'll take the block underneath, lift up gently, take the legs out in front, sit up nice and tall, just draw the flesh a little bit, and then we'll take the left foot underneath towards that right hip. Bring the right foot over close in towards the body, knee high, both sitting bones on the floor. Press the pelvis forwards a little bit, so we tilt into neutral. Take the right hand up over to the left side, and open up. And then we can release. We'll take it to the second side. Left arm up and over. Turn into the right this time. So these should be opening poses. Easy for us to breathe, easy for the heart to pump blood around the body. Let ourselves to settle a little bit more into the body after quite a challenging sequence of poses. Just release again, legs out in front, and we're going to take a final just seated fold. So if you're able to, bring the heels in towards the body, but not actually crossing the ankles over. If that's not comfortable to get the knees down, then we're going to cross at the shins and take the feet wide and forwards. Either will do. We just want to be careful on the hips, knees, and ankles in this very last physical pose. We're going to take the hands towards the floor, lift up, and we're going to try and lift the hips up and over the thighs, which are open, and then swallow the hands forwards, and you go as low as you dare. So you might be able to get your elbows to the ground, maybe be on the palms of the hands, maybe you'll be down able to get your hands underneath your forehead and make a little support. Wherever you find yourself moving into is the place you need to be. A frequently stated comment by yoga teachers. But it is meant with sincerity. You don't need to push yourself any further than your body will happily let you go. The belly's still drawn in a little bit. A little bit more breath into the back ribs. This is a two-stage pose, so press onto the floor, draw the belly in, exhale up. And then whichever way you cross your legs, let them open up and cross them over the second way. You can still mix and match the leg movements and alignments. Do still lift up, get that spine into neutral, and then take the hips over the thighs. The spine stays long. We just walk the fingers out for a little bit of support so there's no surprises. You see where we get to, maybe the same, maybe deeper, maybe less. It really doesn't matter as long as it feels comfortable. Just drawing the belly in a little bit, tailbone back, wherever you are, even if you're sitting upright. And we'll press into the floor again as we exhale to lift up, untangle the legs, and we move very gently into Shavasana. So knees high, hands behind, or roll onto your side, whichever is easy for you to get down on your spine. I like to use a block, hands out to the side, palms up, and then slide a heel at a time along the mat out to the corner edges. And then let the head come back down to the floor. Just going to lengthen out the hips a little bit, wriggle the shoulders underneath, get those natural curves in the spine to flatten out as they release to gravity a little. And then just allow yourself to sink and rest against the floor. And we'll start to wriggle those fingers and toes. Let the rest of the ankles join in. Use that deeper breath to stretch ourselves out. And then ease the heels back in along the mat. And let the knees naturally come in towards the body. Take whatever kind of hug, rock and roll, hip circling feelings that feel good. And then on the exhale, we're going to roll onto our right side. Just stay here for a breath or two as we fold up into a nice little ball. And as we exhale, we'll use the hands to press down and let ourselves open back up. Come into an easy sitting posture. Hands in towards the heart as you lengthen the spine, taking a breath in and closing the eyes. Let the chin drop as you begin to exhale. Draw the belly in to bow gently to the floor. A sign of sealing your practice for the evening. On the inhale, we draw ourselves gently back up. Open the eyes as the head lifts. Namaste. Thank you for joining me. Have a lovely weekend.